Hi, and welcome to another webinar concerning the InVivo dental software that came with your instrumentarium or Soridex 3D unit. Today we're going to talk about reorienting the patient position in a number of situations where it might be useful to you to change things around and change the way that you look things. Another reason you might use this reorientation capability is if we had an error or misjudged on positioning the patient in the first place. When we take a look at our patient in this particular condition here, in this case right here, we take a look at how our patient is positioned here. We can see that our occlusal plane is tilted just a little bit down, almost like a position for panoramic. If it's useful to us, we can reorient the position here just simply by clicking on this button up here, the reorientation button, and tweaking the angle. We can literally shift the angle of the sagittal plane here so that we are looking more at the occlusion. We could check that, of course, on our axial plane here. We can pull this down and see how our occlusion looks and tilt more or less to get the angle just right for what we're looking at here. Now my axial plane is just about perfectly parallel here. We can check this in this orientation by pulling our coronal plane a little bit closer into our teeth here. We can see whether this plane is oriented perfectly straight across and make adjustments if that's the case. We can also orient from the axial plane here. What I'm doing right now is basically straightening things up so that we've got a symmetry going across here that serves us if we're going to take a look in the very next tab here under the volume render tab. We're basically establishing the baseline for what is straight across, what is straight on, what is straight up and down. So now when I touch this reorientation button again, we're locked into this new position. And as we take a look here in our volume render tab, when I go ahead and click straight ahead, I'm looking perfectly straight on to this patient relative to how I oriented in the last step. Okay, so we can set up what is perfectly straight across. This can help you in orienting this image for the task that you're getting ready to do, what you're getting ready to view. We can align, again, a misaligned patient so that they're perfectly straight, perfectly oriented the way that you expect them to be as you look on screen here. This reorientation tab in the section view can definitely skew the angles. Some folks have a tendency to want to use this to get different aspects of relative landmarks within. But the beauty of the Anatomosh software here is that we've got the capability of making a custom section. We can draw a custom section by defining a plane with the 2 points and being able to show that plane on screen very clearly in this fourth quadrant here, which means that we don't have to throw things out of kilter to be able to get that plane. We can construct a custom plane over and over and over again to take a look at different aspects of this rather than throwing off what's up and down, what's front to back, what's side to side. So this custom section is a good way of being able to preserve the perfect straight up and downness, if you will, of things and still be able to angle off slightly and get the variations on that plane that are not perfectly straight up and down. All right, so we don't have to throw things off. We don't have to go ahead and tilt this off in order to be able to look at the plane of this arch. I've got a plane constructed across here right now. We don't have to do that. We don't have to throw things off in order to get that established using this reorientation. We can, of course, we can at any point in time change the way that we're looking at things here, but it's much easier because of the power of our Anatomosh software here to just simply make a custom section of the exact same stuff here. Recreate what we were trying to do by tilting this thing off without throwing off the lay of the land, if you will. So now we've got this plane, and we're able to take a look at that and investigate it, examine it in detail. All right. When we take a look at this volume render tab again, what we orient with on the previous tab determines what is straight up and down on this one. So in other words, if in our section tab here we go ahead and change the orientation, throw this off for whatever reason, now when we go to our volume render tab and say I want to look straight up and down, we're going to be mimicking the angle that we just threw in on that previous tab. All right, so this is going to determine what is straight up and down on the subsequent tabs here. I'm just going to go ahead and put this back straight up and down again. This just to see how our occlusion's looking. That's pretty good. All right, so now I go to my volume render tab and say I want to look at straight ahead again, and our image is perfectly straight up and down, perfectly looking at us as we set the previous tab. Now there is up here a view set up to reorient the patient in this tab. So we can throw off and change the orientation somewhat in our view, how we look at this. We can change it to, let's go ahead and we'll set this up so that we're looking at a perspective view here. Now what we've done is shift our perspective at how we're looking at this so that it's relative to what we would see in a lateral ceph that's 60 inches away. If we go ahead and shift our view back here to a parallel, we're going to see a different view of this. We can also reorient our view here by clicking on a move widget. And in typical Anatomosh fashion, we've got our move widget that'll allow us to tilt, tweak, prod in 3 dimensions here, how we're looking at things. So we can change the aspects of what we're looking at. I'm going to go ahead and turn this sideways, and we'll turn this front ways. So we can change what is straight up and down and angled for this view only. This can help us to, you can set up a view that you want to come back to time and time again without throwing off the section tab. We still have straight on in section tab here and deviate from it just for this view. So that we can set up a position that you come back to time and time again, a perspective view that we're looking at that you want to recover on a time and time again basis here. And of course we've got our oblique views set from that particular angle. This will allow us to come back to the same perspective over and over if you're trying to get a certain view for a surgical procedure, or a certain view of a certain aspect of an anatomical feature that you want to be able to come back to and duplicate after you've gone ahead and looked at other aspects of it or sculpted or trimmed stuff away. We can still get back to that same angled perspective so that you can see something that you're trying to visualize here. To go back, all you need is to press the patient orientation again and reset to the image coordinate system, and we're back to what we set up before in our section tab. All right, straight on, straight up and down, straight level. The Anatomage software, InVivo Dental software, has wonderful settings for setting up these perspective views. And can help you visualize things that you need to, minimize distractions, and help you to smooth your workflow as you work through cases.